So, what if the chaos we're all feeling isn't really chaos at all? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty compelling argument that by 2026, the events around us are going to start feeling less random and a lot more like a system locking into place.
Okay, so let's be clear. This isn't about fortune telling or some kind of prophecy. Nope, it's about spotting a pattern. The whole idea here is that if you've had this nagging feeling that recent events feel a little scripted, complete with ready-made heroes, villains, and solutions, you're not imagining it.
So we're going to reframe the question. Instead of asking, what is going to happen next? We're going to ask what a system under this much stress has to do next. It's about looking right past the noise on the surface and down into the basic mechanics of pressure and response.
All right, section 1. So where does this whole unraveling kick off? Well, it begins with the very foundation of how we see the world, our shared reality, and how it's kind of being taken apart, piece by piece.
I want you to just imagine an information world that is completely flooded. We're talking about a coming tsunami of AI-generated content. Videos, audio clips, official-looking documents, maybe even entire events that just never happened. It'll make it almost impossible to know what's real anymore.
And this right here is the real kicker. A compromising video of a politician? Nope, that's just AI. A leaked audio recording of a CEO? Oh, that's a deepfake. You see, in a world like that, any piece of evidence, no matter how damning, can just be waved away. The very idea of proof starts to dissolve.
This really shows the fundamental flip that's happening. The entire burden of proof gets turned on its head. We used to operate on a real until proven fake basis. Soon, our default setting is going to be fake until proven real. And the end result of that? Just total, widespread confusion and exhaustion. And this is where human nature kicks in, predictably. When truth gets too complicated and too noisy, what do? We don't go digging for more facts, right? No way. We grab onto whatever feels solid, a voice of authority we trust, our tribe, or just a simple story that helps all the chaos make sense. Now, this collapse of a shared truth, it's not happening in a bubble. It's happening at the exact same time that our connections to each other are wearing thin. And that is creating the perfect storm for new kinds of influence.
Just think about talking to people lately. It feels heavier, doesn't it? Kind of exhausting. There's this new friction to human connection. Every conversation feels like it could turn political, and you're always one wrong sentence away from a major issue. And the result is that we're pulling away, having fewer deep friendships, and a lot more shallow, careful interactions.
So here's the next logical step in all of this. What happens when being isolated is sold to us not as a problem, but as a virtue? For people who are already totally burned out from all that social friction, some outside reason to disconnect, like a health crisis or a security threat, it won't feel like a punishment. Honestly, for many, it'll feel like a relief.
And this is the critical link. This is where it all clicks together. Loneliness isn't just a side effect of modern life. It's the fertile ground where new kinds of influence can take root and grow. When we're disconnected from each other, we lose our bearings, and that makes us way more open to suggestion and a lot easier to guide.
So, okay, we've got a crisis of truth, and we've got a crisis of connection. That leaves this huge vacuum, right? And that brings us to section 3, the new systems that are rising up to fill that empty space. By 2026, the prediction is that more people are going to talk to an AI about their deepest problems than to an actual human therapist. And when you look at it, you can see why, can't you? If you're feeling lonely and disconnected, the sales pitch is pretty compelling. It's always on, it's cheap, and it's a place where you can be heard without any of that human friction.
But, and this is a huge but, this creates a massive new point of pressure. Who owns the data from all these incredibly personal conversations? And what happens when the AI's guidance starts to quietly nudge behavior, but on a massive scale? The line between being helpful and being influential gets, well, it's dangerously blurry, almost invisible.
As we all get savvier about spotting obvious propaganda, influence has to get smarter. It has to move into the background. It's shifting away from trying to change your mind and moving toward quietly controlling the environment where you form your thoughts in the first place.
So it's a much more subtle game. It's about what the algorithm decides to show you in your feed. It's about which ideas get a megaphone and which ones get quietly buried. If you only ever see certain viewpoints, your whole reality is being shaped without anyone ever having to make a direct argument to you.
Okay, section 4. So what's the big picture here? What does this all add up to? Let's connect the dots.
And this might be the most important takeaway of the whole thing. All these different trends, growing geopolitical tension, the explosion of AI art, even things like mainstream psychedelics, they're not separate random events. They are all just different symptoms of the exact same underlying condition, a single system under an immense amount of pressure.
And these reactions are almost like laws of physics for societies. They are timeless mechanical patterns. When one pillar of society, like truth, starts to wobble, another structure, like authority, predictably rises up to take its place. When real human connection frays, our suggestibility just skyrockets. It's the simple logic of a system trying to stay balanced.
And it's so important to get this part. This doesn't need a secret group of people in a dark room pulling strings. It's not a master plan. All it needs are the right incentives and our own predictable human nature. The system just naturally adjusts to the pressure, and we, in turn, adjust to the new system.
So as you watch all these changes unfold over the next few years, there's one really powerful question to ask yourself. Is this new thing I'm seeing a genuine solution to a problem, or is it just an adjustment, a tool designed to help us get used to the pressure we're all under? The moment you can tell the difference between those two things, the future stops feeling so random, and it starts to make a terrifying kind of sense.